We are back with a brand new video. What is good, Heat Nation? And yes, we are back starting previews for the Heat season 2022 to 2023. I am super excited. I don't know about you guys, man. I am extremely excited for the start of this season. I know there's been a lot of negativity in the media and a lot of people saying this team has fallen off and blah, blah, blah. Bump all that. I think this team is going to be extremely good this season, and I am super excited to be, covering each and every game, giving my thoughts, hearing your thoughts in the comment section. So yeah, without further ado, man, make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new, and leave a comment down below as to your score predictions. Who do you think is going to win? By how much? What are your expectations? What do you want to see? Leave all that in the comment section below, and yeah, let's get right into it. Previewing the first game of the season, opening night. It's going to be on Wednesday at FTX. It's the Heat versus the Bulls, as we all know, and it's going to be a great matchup, man. These are two teams that were in the playoffs last year. Obviously, the Bulls, for a substantial amount of time, were the number one seed. With a couple of injuries, they dropped in the standings, and they ended up facing the Milwaukee Bucks, where they got gentlemen swept. They lost in 5, and this season, I mean, these are kind of the two teams in the Eastern Conference that have not really done much to their roster. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Heat and the Bulls have not made too many changes to their roster from last season, and it's going to be interesting to see how these two teams match up. Obviously, last season, the Heat had an advantage. We beat the Bulls 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. We really had their number. We did, and I think it's going to be interesting to see, how we play against them this season as well. Obviously, the big injury news: Lonzo Ball is going to be out for I don't even know how long, but he's obviously not playing not tonight, but in a couple of days. But he's not going to be playing for a while. It's very unfortunate for Lonzo. I'm a huge fan of his game. I think he's very impactful to this team, and it's going to be a big loss, which is why I'm not really sure, how to rank the Bulls this season as compared to last season. I think they will be worse without Lonzo. Yeah, that's going to be a huge loss for them. Apart from that, I don't really think they have any big injuries. For us, I think the only player that did not practice was Omer Yurtseven with an ankle injury. Hopefully that heals up, but that's not like a major injury either. So he's day-to-day, as Spo said, and we don't really have any other injuries on our roster. So we're basically fully healthy. And yeah, it's gonna be a very, very competitive game. I expect obviously some rustiness because it's gonna be the first game in a week. Obviously, we did play preseason, but a lot of the stars did not really play. Jimmy, these guys only played like a couple of halves here and there. They're gonna be rusty. It's not gonna be as smooth as people might like, but I do expect the Heat to come out with the W. Especially because, last season, we really had the Bulls number. Like I said, we were able to take care of business a lot of times while facing this particular team. And I think the big key as to why we were able to beat them so many times last season was the fact that we were able to use our zone defense exceptionally well. And we were able to dare them to shoot threes, and the Bulls last season were not the best three-point shooting team. And against the zone, they were one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I don't really see how that changes because, like I said, they did not really make too many changes to their roster to add extra perimeter shooting. Obviously, they did add a former Heat legend, Goran Dragic. I think this will be his first game in Miami since the trade. I don't think he has played in Miami since we traded him a couple years ago or last season. I know he bounced around. We played him in Brooklyn. I know that for a fact, and I don't really think he played in Toronto after we traded him. So I don't think he has played in Miami. I know he has been in the stands for a couple of games, but this is going to be the first time we faced Goran since the trade, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's going to be another storyline. Derrick Jones Jr., another Heat legend. We're going to be playing against him as well. The Bulls starting lineup, I expect it to be Ayo Dosunmu at the 1, Zach LaVine at the 2, DeMar DeRozan at the 3 or the 4, depending on where you classify him at. And then at the 4 position, it's going to be a toss-up. I would love to see Patrick Williams. I'm a huge fan of his game out of Florida State. I was a huge fan of him in the draft. Unfortunately, due to injuries and a couple of other circumstances, he wasn't really able to break out. But I think this is the year that he could make some noise if he really, really steps up his game and finds a niche in that rotation. But they might go with Javonte Green. Javonte Green was very solid for them for periods of time last season. He brings a lot of energy and hustle that Patrick Williams just does not bring. So even though he's not as skilled as Patrick Williams, he just brings a lot of the intangibles that the Bulls might like. I know Ayo Dosunmu is for sure starting though, because I'm pretty sure Billy Donovan did say that Ayo Dosunmu will start. And as someone who goes to Illinois currently and has watched Ayo Dosunmu for a couple of years now, he is a dog. He will do a lot of little things in order for his team to win. And just because they do not have Lonzo Ball, we cannot take Ayo Dosunmu lightly. He is someone that can impact a game without scoring the ball, and he is a very pesky defender. So we cannot be lackadaisically dribbling around him. Hero, Lowry, these guys have to be secure with the ball, because not only do they have Ayo starting, they have another pit bull and Alex Caruso off the bench, and we all know how energetic he is. And yeah, the Bulls, they didn't do much to their roster, but I like their draft. Dalen Terry, another guy. If you don't really know about college hoops like that, which I'm not expecting everyone to know about, Dalen Terry is a name that a lot of people will not be familiar with. But Dalen Terry, we all know the Paolo Bancheros and the Chet Holmgrens and the Jabari Smiths, but Dalen Terry is one of these guys that I think is a very impactful player, and I think can bring a lot of energy to this Bulls team going down the line. I'm excited to see him. But I think, there's going to be a couple of battles here between the Heat and the Bulls. Obviously, Nikola Vucevic, everyone in Miami knows about Nikola Vucevic. We played him so many times when he was with Orlando, and now he's with Chicago. He had a down year last season. Just to be frank, he wasn't the best, but he's still a very skilled offensive player, and Bam is going to have to come with it, because Nikola Vucevic, has had some big games against the Heat in the past. I know that was against Whiteside mostly, but Bam is going to have to make sure he, doesn't really Bam has to make sure he's not taking his foot off the gas pedal, because if Vucevic gets hot, it's going to be very, very scary, because LaVine and DeRozan, you already have to expect good games from them. If Vucevic is that third option that the Bulls need and that they can get, and if he puts up 20, 25 points, it's going to be a tough night, because Vucevic can get going if he makes a few. Another storyline, DeMar DeRozan versus Jimmy Butler. These guys are the two leaders of their respective teams, and DeRozan had a really, really good season last year. I thought he had an amazing season, especially in the regular season. He was incredible, hitting game winners left and right. We all know how good he is in the mid-range area. We have to make sure that whenever he's taking a mid-range shot, there's always 2-3 guys crowding him, making sure that he doesn't really get a clean look off, because DeRozan, like a lot of these great players in this league, if he gets one to fall, he's going to get hot. And once he gets hot, he's as unstoppable as a lot of these other guys, because he starts making ridiculously contested shots at times. And, LaVine is really the guy I'm most worried about, though, because I think LaVine is a guy that can do it at three levels. DeRozan's not the best three-point shooter, and LaVine is just a guy who can kill you on every single level. He's obviously an extremely athletic finisher. He can finish in the mid-range area, and he can also destroy you from the three-point line. So LaVine is going to be incredibly hard to stop, but I think getting the ball out of their hands, throwing multiple looks at them, blitzing them, trapping them, zoning them up, because you have to make sure that they're trying to kick it out to these guys, because as good of a player as Javonte Green maybe, or even DeMar DeRozan, like if they're guys who are going to be spotting up, we're winning that battle, because these guys are not extremely good three-point shooters. And I think that's the recipe, allowing the Bulls, or trying the Bulls trying to let the Bulls beat us from three. I think that's the recipe to success here, because they do not have the best three-point shooting team on paper. Kobe White, another guy, he can be ignitable off the bench, man. Kobe White has some talent, but again, last season was a down year for him. But if Kobe White gets going off the bench, it's going to be a tough night for us, because we cannot let their bench really do much. We have to make sure Kobe White's not the sixth man for them that can score 20 or 18. Like, we have to make sure Kobe White is kept quiet. On the flip side, because I talked a lot about the Bulls, let's talk about Miami. The backcourt, Lowry and Hero are going to have to come with it, because Hero is going to probably be guarded by Ayo Dosunmu. They're probably going to have Ayo if he starts, which I think he will. But even if he doesn't, Caruso or Ayo, one of these guys is going to be pressuring Hero. Hero's going to have to be able to take pressure. He's going to have to be able to, handle blitzes and traps, because everyone knows that you can kind of slow him down if you send two at him and be physical with him. He did show improvement in the preseason dealing with this, but it's still something that it's not his strength. So he's gonna have to be able to be composed and be patient whenever he's guarded physically. And then Lowry's gonna have to be this quarterback that's gonna have to get everyone involved, push the pace, whatever Kyle Lowry does. We all know what Kyle Lowry's good at. I just need him to make his threes because I know he's going to push the pace. I know he's going to play defense. It's just about making shots for Kyle that I think is the big question mark for me. Can he be consistent knocking them down from the three-point line? Jimmy, I don't really have to say much about him. He's playing against his former team. I know he's going to be fired up for this game. But Caleb is going to be extremely huge for us because I think they might put Caleb is going to get either the LaVine or the DeRozan assignment because I think Jimmy will get the other one, obviously. I think they will put Caleb on DeMar, and I think they will put Jimmy on LaVine. But I could be wrong. They might flip it either way. Caleb's going to have to be, extremely locked in defensively. We have to make sure Caleb does not get in foul trouble because if Caleb gets in foul trouble, again, that's another wing defender, and we don't have too many of those on our team. That is lost because off the bench, who's going to be guarding DeRozan if Caleb gets in foul trouble? Are we expecting Duncan, Strus, Jovic? Are we throwing in Jamal Cain all of a sudden? Like, we have to make sure Caleb does not get in foul trouble. I think he's going to be extremely crucial for us because, like I said, he's going to get the assignment of one of these stars, and he's going to have to make sure that he does an extremely good job on them. And he's going to have to compete, which I know he will, but he's just going to have to compete extra hard without fouling. And then, like I said, Bam against Vucevic. I hope he takes it personal against Vucevic. I hope he, because Vucevic is good of an offensive player that he is. He cannot really defend like that. I want Bam to go to work, man. I think Bam can. There's nobody on this Bulls team that I can really see stopping Bam. Off the bench, they have Drummond. Drummond's not a good defender. He's never will be. Like, Drummond is a really solid rebounder, and that's about it. I mean, he knocked a couple of threes down in preseason. I don't really see that happening again. Bam has to go to work. Plain and simple, this is the team that Bam can take advantage of because they don't really have the bigs to really contain him. And then lastly, off the bench, Oladipo is going to be huge. Him and Vincent are going to have to be, one of them is going to have to be a spark plug off the bench. Like I said, with Hero starting now, it's going to be leaving a void as to who's going to be the sixth man. And it's going to be Oladipo. He kind of looks shaky in preseason. It's going to be Vincent. One of these guys is going to have to step up and do what Hero did last year to a certain extent and be the spark and the ignite off the bench. And I'm very confident that we can win this game if a lot of these things happen. I know a lot of these things won't happen because everything's not going to go perfectly in game one, but I expect the Heat to win this game just because of the matchup. I just think we're a bad matchup for the Chicago Bulls. I don't really think the Chicago Bulls really want to face us. Just following this game, though, we do have a pretty tough schedule. I'm not going to lie. Playing the Celtics, playing the Raptors twice. Those are 4 playoff teams, in my opinion. Portland with Dame back, Golden State, Sacramento, and then Golden State again. Like, it's not going to be an easy schedule. These first 7 to 8 games are going to be tough, and I think that's the perfect thing we need right now because these 7, 8 games are going to prepare us like no other games in this season. And I think that we're going to have to come with it in these 7, 8 games. If we go, I don't know, if we go 4-3 or 5-2. Let's say this: if we go 5-2, I'll be happy. Bulls, I'm expecting a win. Celtics, Raptors, Trailblazers, Warriors, Kings, Warriors. I don't know. I mean, it could go either way with some of these games. I think if we split Toronto, beat Boston, beat Portland, split Golden State, and beat Sacramento, that's a 5-2 record right there. So I think that it is definitely possible. It's not going to be easy, but I think that throughout these games, I think if we are able to go 5-2 or 6-2 in these 7 or 8 games, I think it might be 8. I don't know why I'm saying 7. Yeah, Bulls, Celtics, Raptors, Trailblazers, Warriors, Kings, and then Warriors. Yeah, that's 8 games. So if we go 6-2 or 5-3, I'm gonna say 5-3 just to keep it more realistic. I'm happy with 5-3. I think 5-3 is a good record, especially against these teams that can be tough and that can give us a loss. I will take 5-3 every day of the week. So, I'm expecting big things this season, man. I think we will be a really good team. I don't really expect us to fall off as much as a lot of people think we will. I've seen a lot of people put us in the play-in. I don't know how that happens. PJ Tucker is not LeBron James, I promise you. I think we will figure it out. And I think, surprisingly, our offense will be better because as good as PJ was defensively, a lot of teams were ignoring him offensively because apart from shooting in the corner, he didn't really do much for us. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up here, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you later as always. Let me know your score predictions down in the comment section below. That is very, very crucial. And yeah, I'll see y'all. Peace.